All right, today we're tackling a big one, building a data warehouse. But not just any data warehouse. We're talking about one that's built to last, one that's still going to be crushing it 5 years from now. It's really all about planning for the questions you haven't even thought to ask yet. Okay, let's dive in.
And this right here is the question you've got to ask yourself right from the get-go. Are you building this thing for today or for the long haul? Because let's be real, you're not just building a temporary report. You're laying the foundation for your company's analytics for the next 5 years, maybe even longer.
And please, whatever you do, don't fall for that old myth that you can just throw more hardware at it later. Oh, we'll just buy a faster server. No. True scalability, the kind that actually works, isn't something you can just bolt on at the end. It has to be baked into the design from day one.
So where do these projects usually go off the rails? Well, you might be surprised. The biggest, most common hurdle, it's not the code, it's communication. You see, most business users have no idea what to ask for because, frankly, they don't really know what a data warehouse is or what it's truly capable of.
And this leads to one of the first and most critical conversations you have to have. Your business users, they're used to their operational systems. They click a button, they see real-time data. A data warehouse, that's a different beast. It's got built-in latency. The data is usually a day old. You have got to set that expectation right up front, or you're going to have some very unhappy people down the line.
So what do? You get everyone in a room. I'm serious. Host a workshop. Why? Because I guarantee you, the sales department's definition of a customer is totally different from the finance department's. You've got to hammer out those definitions. And when they come to you with a report request, don't just build the report. Treat it like a clue. Use it to dig deeper and find out the real business questions they're trying to answer.
Okay, so all that great communication and requirements gathering, it all feeds directly into the design phase. And listen, this is where the choices you make today will either make you a hero or they will come back to haunt you for years. No pressure. Now, one of the absolute most critical parts of the design is figuring out how to handle history. Think about it. How do you know which sales territory a customer was in last year, before they moved? The gold standard for this is something called a Type 2 Slowly Changing Dimension, or SCD. It's a fancy name, but it's basically the magic trick that lets you preserve the complete history of your data.
And this right here is exactly why just using the account numbers or keys from your source systems is a total trap. Imagine a customer's account number changes in the main system. It happens all the time. If that's the only thing you're using to identify them, poof, you've just lost the link to all of their past purchases, all their past interactions. Their history is now completely orphaned from their new record. It's a disaster.
So what's the pro-level solution? It's something called surrogate keys. These are just independent system-generated numbers that you create and control inside your data warehouse. They are absolutely non-negotiable for doing Type 2 SCDs correctly and making sure your history stays perfectly intact no matter what crazy stuff happens in the source systems.
All right, the next big design decision is granularity. Basically, how detailed is your data going to be? It's really tempting to just roll everything up, aggregate it, to make your reports run super fast. But if you do that, you might lose the very detail you need to answer a future question. The best practice, honestly, it's often to do both. Keep a super detailed fact table for the deep dive analysis, and then create a few smaller aggregated tables to power your daily dashboards.
Okay, so we've got our design. Now we have to actually move the data. This is the world of ETL. Extract, transform, and load. And let me tell you, this is where the wheels can really fall off. It's where data chaos can strike, especially when you're pulling from multiple, often messy source systems.
And here is a classic real-world example of why ETL is so tricky. You see a date here from an Oracle system, November 4th in the year 20. Totally valid in Oracle, but the second you try to load that into a SQL Server database, boom, error. Your entire data load process just grinds to a halt, all because of one tiny data type conflict.
So to prevent that kind of chaos, you need to follow some bulletproof best practices, and these are non-negotiables. First, always use a staging area to land your raw data. Even if you only have one source system today, you won't tomorrow. Second, design your extractions to be independent. That way, if the Oracle load fails, the Salesforce load can still run. And finally, build in auditing and really robust error handling from day one. Don't make it an afterthought. All right, so let's say your warehouse is built, the data is flowing, you're not done yet. Not by a long shot. Now you have to make sure it's secure and that it can actually scale like you planned. And that brings us to governance.
And this is the core security challenge, right?
In the old world, the finance data was in the finance system, sales data was in the sales system. They were separate. But in a data warehouse, all of that data is now living together, often in the same giant tables. This makes managing who gets to see what, well, it becomes incredibly complex and incredibly important.
The way you solve this is with something called row-level security. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a feature that lets you define rules so that, say, the sales manager for the West region can only see the rows of data for the West region, even though the East region's data is in the very same table. This is a critical security feature, and you absolutely have to plan for it from the very beginning.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. What are the key takeaways here? Number 1, think in terms of years, not months. You're building an asset for the next 5 years. 2, talk to your business users. Bridge that communication gap early. 3, design for history. Use surrogate keys and Type 2 SCDs. It's what the pros do. And 4, build a resilient ETL pipeline with staging, auditing, and error handling. You get these things right, and I promise you, you will build a data warehouse that people will love and that will deliver real value for years to come.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Is the data warehouse you're building designed just to answer yesterday's questions? Or is it architected to help you discover tomorrow's? Because a great data warehouse doesn't just store what you know. Its real power is in helping you find the incredible insights you haven't even thought of yet.